But that wouldn't be theologically true, because God doesn't have to look to find anyone. He already knows where we are. Yeah. Let's start at verse 8. And they heard the voice of God, or the voice of the Lord God, walking in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord, or the Lord God, among the trees of the garden. And the Lord called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee that thou was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I command thee that thou shalt not eat? And the man said, The woman whom thou gave it to me to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. Amen. If there's a man is in this room, and if you've been assigned to a man, if you have a man as a father, and you should, and you've been assigned to a man, you're raising a son. If you have a husband for a man, or you've had a husband for a man, if you have a brother in terms of a man, uncle, cousin of a man, friend of a man, I want you to help me tonight to ask him, where is he? Where art thou? Where art thou, Adam? Where art thou, man? It is interesting that God would, you can rest yourself, it is interesting that God would raise the question as if God is looking for the man that he created. It is interesting, Pastor, because God created man, and there are several P's that God did for man. First of all, he gave man his person. That means that man was created in the likeness, in the image of God, so he has his person. So God should be able to see man and identify man, because man has the person, the image in the likeness of God, and so God can identify man. Next thing, that if he couldn't find him by his purpose, he should have been able to trace him by his purpose, because he created man and he gave him his person. But then he turned around and gave him a purpose. And so therefore, if God could find the problem, he should be able to find the man working his purpose. And so he should have been able to scan to find man by his purpose. And if that wasn't enough, God gave him a place. Just in case Adam was out working his purpose and he found somewhere that possibly are all seeing and are all knowing and an omnipresent God could not track him, then God gave him a place that at the end of the day, when he got through with his purpose, he should have returned to the place where God has given him in order for him to rest his head and deal with his family. Ooh, God. And if that wasn't enough, God gave Adam his power. And since God had gave Adam his power, that means that God and Adam shared a common bond in terms of power. So God shouldn't be able to detect where his own power was, since it was attached to him and it was he who had dispatched his power, he should have been able to track his power, because what I've discovered that when we get out sometime, he retracts his power. And so God, long before they put those trackers in order to get your car back in repossession, God had put a tracker on his power just in case man misused his power. He knew how to repossess his power. So he should have been able to find man based upon he could track where his own power was. And if that wasn't enough, God loved man so much that he wanted man to be in a love relationship other than a love relationship he had with him in worship. So he gave him a partner. And so therefore in that partner, he gave him a helpmate. He gave him someone that could help him be accountable for what God had made them accountable for. He gave him someone that if Adam got lost and he got busy, then when he was trying to track Adam, he should have been able to call his partner. You know how it is that sometimes when people looking for you, they call your wife. Do you know where your husband is? You know, when they're looking for a mother's son, they call a mother. Do you know where your son is? You know, you call your house and talk about, you know where your dad is? I mean, you and I, you know where your brother is? That means that God had gave Adam a partner, and that partner should be able to let God know where Adam was. And so maybe God ain't looking for Adam. Yes. Maybe God need Adam to look for himself.
Yes, sir. Okay. Okay.
God, I told you, had been gracious to Adam. He gave God his person. Don't get no better than that. Yes. Gave Adam a purpose. Turn around and then gave Adam a place. And then if that wasn't enough, God turned around and gave him his power. I give you dominion over the earth, so do it, conquer it. And if that wasn't enough, he turns around and gives him a partner. I don't want you to be alone. I've given you someone to help you fulfill your purpose. I've given you someone to live in a place with you. I've given you someone that will share my person with you. I've given you someone that will share power with you.
That's good.
And yet all that God had given to Adam, I wish I could lay out how much he gave him. To give him his person is enough. Is anybody in here could ever imagine what it's like in order to actually have something to be identified and associated with the person of God? I mean, you understand that when someone talks about him being God, that means that he is ultimate reality. He is the ultimate of person and personality. That means that it doesn't get any better than him. He is what is called the sono bono. He is the ultimate experience of anything that anyone can experience in both natural and in spiritual realms. He is the ultimate one. And then for someone to say, you look like him. Ooh, wait a minute. In here. I know some of you get happy when you talk about you look like your daddy and you look like your mama. Some of them get happy when tell my girl you look like Beyonce. I do, you don't. Some of us get happy, boy, you walk like Denzel. I mean, you get happy all about that. And I know you get excited about it. That's okay. That's okay to, to kind of want to look like some other people that other people identify. But what about when folks say you look like him? Wait a minute. You ain't got, I mean, he is the epitome of what Denzel want to be in handsome. You don't get no handsomer than God. You don't get no prettier than God, ladies, and people would bother me in terms of that because we always want to put God in masculine on it, but he has to be both because he's created both and he cannot create something that you're not.
Yes, sir.
Let me leave you alone in that terms. That would go for a deep theological stop out of college at 13 and figure out in terms of God, he's a spirit.
Yes, sir.
And he has the ability to be enacting and functioning. All I would talk about in terms of the difference in terms of when he speak of his left hand and his right hand, that his left hand is always the tender hand, and his right hand is always his strength, as if he's pointing that I can do both. I can be tender when I need to be tender, and I can be loving when I need to be tender, but when I need to be loving, but I also can be strong. Yeah. to be strong. And not only that, he gave Adam a purpose.
Yes, sir.
There are people who chase and try to figure out their purpose all the days of their life. You know, it's good to have your purpose in your fingers. And all you got to do is hear music and get on the organ, and all of a sudden you done discovered your purpose. It's good to be just gifted, to be able to sing. Because all you do is open up your mouth, and all of a sudden you can hear that your purpose is in your voice. It's good, Pastor, just to be able to, somebody put you in a car one time, and it seemed like you and a car been together all your life, and now you drive. And you drive. I mean, you know, but then some of us, we have to try to figure out what is my purpose. It ain't so obvious to us. We got to figure that thing out. I'm trying to figure out, take some of us a long time to figure out what is my purpose. Yes. And God doesn't keep Adam on delay. He says, matter of fact, I want you to know that I birth you and manifest you for the purpose of being able to solve the problem of tilling and taking care of the ground. You know what you are, Adam. You're a groundskeeper. I gifted you to handle the earth. I gifted you to handle the earth. It's good, it's good, it's good. And then he gives him. I need to do that because, you know, it's sometimes people think because my purpose is not one of these high lofty identified jobs or places that, you know, because of that, I'm not that significant. But God would give authority to the groundskeeper over all the ground. Yeah. So no matter whoever treaded on the ground, guess who had authority over the ground? Okay, let me leave y'all alone. Y'all don't want to go with me on the terms of that. He gave him authority over everything that moved, over everything that creeped. He gave him authority over everything. So it doesn't matter in terms of whether your purpose sets you down in terms of what people may consider as not essential or not important. But the fact that you have authority, it does not matter. You still have the ability to command things beyond your position and command things beyond your purpose.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You better believe me. All right, let me leave you alone. I will try to make you understand, and you need to understand that they have people in terms Jesus says like this: he that serves has more authority than the one that's being served. Yes. Because he commands and meet a need that is in the person who gives the alleged authority. Mm-hmm. And so after all that, it appears that Adam should be satisfied. I said all that to say, Adam should be satisfied. Yes. Not only should Adam be satisfied, but Adam's partner should be satisfied. His wife should be satisfied. Because sister woke up in a consciousness of a world that she'd never seen before. Mm. And she was able to walk into a paradise that she did not have to do anything in order to make it right. It was right when she arrived. Yes, now she could have added her aesthetic beauty that she brings to it. Now she could have added some new decoration. Now she could have gave it a little more difference and a little more significance. But for the most part, all the resources was in place. For the most part, it was a safe place. For the most part, it was a place of provision. For the most part, it had everything. And if that wasn't enough, God gave her a man. Not only did he want her, but he claimed her. Not just, watch what Adam says. He says, now this is, now she is. Now God and Adam had been fellowshipping and walking together and dealing with one, and he was the person of God. And never did Adam say, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Never did Adam say, I'm glad to be your son. It ain't ever recorded that. I'm glad to be walking in your image. But the soon as sister girl came into his life, Adam shouted early when he woke him up, and he shouted, now this is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. God should have knew he was going to have trouble out of Adam when it came to Eve, because the first time we ever hear Adam exclaim or make a law, he was hanging with the animals hollering, and he never hollered, never got loud. I mean, he was having fellowship with God, never got loud. But soon as Eve became a reality to Adam, Adam woke up out of his sleep as if he'd been in a dream and walked into a real dream and hollered, now this is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. I'm going to call her woman.
Yeah. Thank you, God. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is the best work you've done for us. I'm considered you created everything and you hollered good, but she's better than good, God. This is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Ooh.
Thank you, God.
You get it? It appears she should have been happy with a man that loved her and with a man that was willing to claim her and a man that was proud to be with her. And then a man that took care of her, and the man that nourished her, and the man that was there for her, and the man that, watch this right here, that most men, that consider her his equal.
Yeah.
Wow, that's good.
Can I help you in this room?
Yeah.
Man, he considered her his equal. I missed that in the text. No, you didn't. Your blinders of your culture and your blinders of your masculinity and the blindness of opinions and traditional thoughts that has been transferred down to you won't let you see it, even though it is in plain sight. He says, now this is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. I will call her woman.
That's right.
You cannot be bone of his bone and flesh of his flesh and not be equal. It is in the text. God says, I will make him a helpmate that is suitable. And when you get that word suitable, that doesn't mean that she meets a need. That means that she's capable of being able to function at his level. Being able to think at his level. Able to lead at his level. Because she cannot help him and be a helpmate. Just in case he have a day off, then she has to step in and lead for Adam. Then like Adam leaves, so she has the same capability, even though she may step down so he can step up and be where God has ordained him to be. Don't you ever get a shot that she's incapable. She's capable. She just take a position so that the family can function and the relationship can stay on course without them colliding, because two leaders trying to lead, ain't nobody going anywhere. And so now she operates in the wisdom of a woman. She operates in the wisdom of a woman, and she humbly submit and step down underneath the leadership of the man, not because she's not capable, not because she may not be the better leader, but she understands the order that God has ordered for them to function in. And so she says, Adam says, he put you first. He must wanted you to go. He wants the lion to eat you before he eat me, just in case he need a better leader to still be available. You go first. You go first. And since he didn't make me as strong as you, he may not want me to be on the front line fighting like you. Women miss it. It's good to step back. Because the lion eat who comes through the door first. And it ain't God's fault that you send your man, that your man sends you to the door. And you comfortable going to the door. And now you ate before he's okay. And it looked like they would have been satisfied, Pastor, for the most part. Should have been happy.
Yes.
But that's the problem somewhere. Because in all that God has given them, they're still not satisfied in terms of who they are. They're assuming that there's more to being more. Is there anybody in here ever did that? You assume there's more to being more? You know, I've got all the confirmation that you get. And yet you still create human augmentations for more. You starve yourself so you can more. You cover yourself up because you think it's more. It's no more pretty than you. Just want you to know it's no more. It's no more handsome than you, Adam. Stop getting telling to me, Adam. Let it have capacity. It got the capacity to grow, let it grow. No, I said Adam. They're not men tucking it more than women. But they're not satisfied. And what you and I don't want to deal with the reality in terms of who we are and where we are and what's going on with us. And the reason why people are doing so many adjustments and changing, and people doing so many cover-ups, and people are doing so many redress and remake and makeover, is because something in you is not satisfied with who God created you to be.
All right. Preacher.
And whenever you're not satisfied, I don't care who you are, I don't care where you come from, I don't care whether you have knowledge or no knowledge, I don't care whether you're degree or GED. When you're not satisfied, you'll start allowing yourself to seek for something that don't supposed to be part of you. Ooh, God. And Adam and Eve wasn't satisfied. No, she wasn't satisfied with him ruling over her. And he wasn't satisfied. Watch that. Watch this right here. In terms of her loving him. Oh.
Have mercy, God.
You're going to have to make me understand that one right there. How he's not satisfied. Because the only reason he would eat of that fruit is because he's trying to appease her for something and give her something that he wasn't supposed to. It happened every day. He don't really love me. She doesn't really care for me like she should because she wants something more than me.
Wow.
Let me leave y'all alone.
That's good, Doc. That's good, Doc.
Y'all want me to holler at you traditionally and get out of the way and this and that, do that? Or you want me to really deal with our stuff that get us in the places and where reason why we starving for revival and need to be reformed is because we live in the reality of thinking that I have to do something else and something more for her to love me and for her to want me and for her to accept me. And the problem is you're willing to do something outside the context of what God asked you to do when you ought to stay within the context of the one that created you. Because if can't nobody get you to love her more than the person that gave her to you.
Amen. Amen.
Stay in his will.
Amen.
He'll get you what you want. But they're not satisfied.
That's good. That's good.
Oh, God.
Have mercy.
And now Eve, on the day when Adam and died, and I know I'm going to get theologians to argue with me, but I just refuse to believe Adam is there. Too much conversation that doesn't include him. Too much one-on-one dialogue with Eve. He never interjects.
Never say that.
He never gives an opinion.
That's right.
And he's the one that has been talking to her all the time. He's never part of the conversation. The serpent never addressed him, even though he knows that he's the one in charge, even though he knows that ain't nothing going to change until he eats, even though he knows that he must get him eventually in order to get them. And so he never brings up Adam's name. He never mentioned Adam not one time. He never made reference to Adam being present. And only after she eats, and only they said it happened after she ate then, which we'll try to chase in time. And I've seen people trying to play with it, but I'd rather play with the reality of sitting in the part of knowing this man has been created in the likeness and image of God. This man have stayed to his assignment and his purpose. This man have stayed away from the tree. This man have never addressed the tree, so he knows the seriousness of the tree. And you telling me he's going to allow the serpent to have a whole dialogue with his wife and never say not one word, never say to her, never come back what he said, never discuss what he said, you telling me that man who was made in the likeness and image of God, that man who had God's spirit, that man that has authority, didn't tell the serpent, stand down.
Talk to my wife.
Ain't
Talk,
no
sir.
way. Ain't no way.
Talk, sir.
He knows who he is.
Yes, sir.
He's okay with who he is. And the fact that he doesn't eat of the tree, he's fine with not touching the tree. He's just not fine with The tree ain't his problem. Eve is his problem.
Yes, sir. Break it down.
The serpent can never get him to eat until he redressed the fruit in Eve's hand. Long as it's on the tree, Adam knows I have dominion over tree. Tree don't make me, I make tree. Long as it's in the tree, Adam understands that the tree cannot offer him anything more than what God could offer him. Long as it's in the tree, Adam doesn't touch it. Adam doesn't eat it. Adam don't want it. It's only after Satan deceived Eve to take it off the tree and put it in her hand, now it becomes an edible for Adam. Woo! Can I help you tonight as I help myself? What is it that haven't bothered you? What is it that don't call your name until the right person? Come on, let's be honest about this thing. Some of us ain't never thought about going out clubbing until the young lady we was interested in, she was clubbing, and so we found out that she went to the club, and now we done left the church to go to the club so we can find her. Ladies, I'm talking about Adam tonight, so I got to talk about Adam. Don't worry, I'll get you next month. I'll talk about you. So listen, I'm not leaving you out of here. Watch this right here. So it's only when we look at some places you ain't never went. Some things you say I ain't gonna never do. Some things you ain't never drank. But because she was doing it, you decided to do it. So, no. At Soho. I'm going to give his first name, Mr. Joseph, 75 years old, retired military veteran. Mr. Joseph, retired post office worker. Mr. Joseph, married for 40-some years to the same woman. Loving relationship. She dies. He's lonely, and he's looking for companionship. Mr. Joseph didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't do anything, but he was lonely for a woman in her companionship. He was lonely for the touch of a woman. He was lonely for the company of the woman. And he ended up bumping into the wrong woman. And that wrong woman took him to the hotel. And before she touched him, she lit something and told him, take it with me. He puffed it. Wow. And he said, I can't say what he said. He didn't curse. He just labeled her what I won't label a woman. He didn't call her no B name either. He just said, Dad, put that thing in my mouth, and my life ain't never been the same again. Can I help you in this room? There's some things that a man won't touch unless you put it in his hand. So you need to understand in terms of how much influence you have over the one that is leading you, and quit fighting with him and start putting the right things in his hands if you want him to do the right thing by you. Yes, sir. All right, sir. You keep on giving the wrong things. Yeah. Sooner or later, you're going to lose control, because sin is greater than you. Unrighteousness is greater than you. The devil is greater than you. Satan is definitely greater than you. Go ahead, keep on giving the wrong thing. Keep on feeding the wrong fruit. Keep on giving the forbidden thing. Keep on thinking that it's better that he's closer to you than he's closer to God. You can understand that the only reason he's been faithful to you is because God's been keeping him. The only reason he's been still showing up at the house because God's been sending him home. The only reason why he's still loving you because God's still loving him. The only reason he ain't acting a fool, the only reason he ain't went postal on you is because God keeps on reminding him, you better treat my daughter right. God raised this question. He says to Adam, she gives him the fruit. I jumped over all in terms of that. I get to you next week to talk about how the fruit got in her hand. Doesn't matter how it got in her hand. The problem is, how did it get in his mouth? Yeah, my God. The Bible says she took it and she gave it to him, and he deliberately ate it. I don't understand that, Pastor. He wears the person of God.
Yes,
He looks like him.
sir.
There's something about him who acts like him.
Yes, sir.
There's something about him talks like him.
Yes.
He has power like him. He has a purpose, that he gave him. He has a palace and a place. But he's willing to risk it all just so he can keep his partner.
My God.
Isn't it funny? God gave him his person first. God gave him his purpose second. God gave him a place third. And then God gave him his power next. And then he gave him a partner. But it's funny how Adam would take the last thing and make it more important than the first thing. Somebody in here, he made the last thing more important than the first thing. She ain't more important than God. She ain't more important than the job. Because you got to have the job, the purpose, to keep her attention. And somebody in here don't realize she'll call you away from your purpose. And then when you get lost, she'll find a man that has purpose. While you're trying to figure out where your partner is, she's gonna always look for a man with purpose. Her God had created her to look for Adam. He got purpose. He got my person. He got my power. And he got a place. You left your purpose. Lost your place. Left your person. Lost your power. And now Eve finally got you. You're a captive animal that has no purpose. You're just a man. You're just an image of, but no power and no person. You're just a man that look like you're about something, but you ain't really about nothing. All right, that's enough for preaching for tonight. I'm not going to try to push this thing traditionally and make it. Let me tell you what. He raised the question. He says, Adam, where are you?
Yeah, why?
Woo! Adam, where are you? Where are you, Adam?
Where are you?
I ain't looking for you. I need you to look for yourself. I know where you are. I told you you would be there before you got there. I made provision for you before you got there. But in order for me to give you a provision, I need you to be conscious of who you are and where you are and what your need is and who's important to you now. Adam, where are you? You left me for the woman. Adam, where are you? You left me for the fruit. Adam, where are you? Why you gave a fellowship with me so that you can eat fruit from the tree? Adam, where are you? Why your paradise is all messed up? Adam, where are you? Why your power has been gone, is now gone? Adam, where are you? I'm looking for my person. I'm looking for my glory. I'm looking for my spirit. And all I see is flesh. I left you with me over you. I left you with a purpose. I left you with power. And now I'm looking for you, Adam. You don't look like my son. You don't operate like my son. You don't got the power like my Adam. Where are you? Adam, where are you? Where are you, Adam?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
He answered him. He says, I was hiding.
Yes, sir.
Why you hiding, Adam? This woman that you gave me, gave me the fruit, and I did eat.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to leave you alone, but I got to tell you in terms of what sin does in our life. And the reason why we're in this place and why we're going to take a whole year for us possibly to get back to God like we need to. Because sin always takes you longer than you intended to go.
Yes,
Sin always costs you more than what you intended to pay. Listen here. Sin always, watch this, keep you longer than you intended to stay. Let me help you in this room. He says to him, he says, Adam, where are you? He says, I'm hiding. He first raised the question in terms of the consciousness of Adam. Why your mind ain't in the same place about me, about the woman, about yourself? Adam says, it affects your consciousness. And your consciousness affect how you see yourself. And your subconscious will either allow you to judge yourself or either justify yourself. Your conscience will allow you to look at you and realize that you've been covered by one that loves you, and it doesn't matter what's wrong with you. I got to help you in this room. Adam was always naked. Adam was always short. Adam was always, missing the mark. Adam was always that had the look of sin around him. Because long as the tree was there, sin was in his environment. As long as the tree was there, there was a possibility of him sinning. Adam was always naked. No. The Bible says that after he created them, they both was naked, but they wasn't ashamed. And the difference of, as long as you got the covering of God, as long as you're walking in the Spirit, as long as you're in the Holy Ghost, something wrong with you, but you can't see it because you see the Father. Oh, I leave you alone with that. I leave you alone with that. Adam always was naked, but he was naked in God. He was always naked, but he was covered by the blood. He was always naked, but he was covered by the Lamb that was slain before the foundation. He was always naked, but when sin comes and become more important than God will let you see yourself like sin see you. When sin see you, it sees a sinner. When I see you, I see a Saint Adam. Adam was always naked, but watch this right here. Watch this. He says, I was naked. He says, who told you? You was naked. Adam, you always been naked. But I need to know who told you was naked. He said that evil that I ain't of told me I was naked. That new knowledge that I got told me I was naked. That new information I got from the serpent told me I was naked. Adam, what's wrong with you, Adam? He says, I'm naked. Because my mind don't look the same. It don't perceive the same. It doesn't see the same. And you wonder why some saints can come in church and no matter what's wrong with other folk, they can always see what's wrong with everybody else, but never see what's wrong with them. Because sin will have you judge folk when you ought to be judging yourself. Sin will let you see what's wrong with people, go against to see what's right about them. Sin will let you look at the negative when God got 10 positives that he want to do in their life. Sin will let you see the ruin, but the Holy Ghost will let you see the redemption. Sin will let you see the sadness, but the Holy Ghost will let you see the joy of the Lord. You got to know that, first of all, it affected his mind, but it did not only affect his mind, Pastor. He said, I was naked and I hid myself. It affected his fellowship. See, his mind would let him go back to the one that he had fellowship with, even though the one that he had fellowship with had what he needed to cover him. The one he had fellowship with could redirect his knowledge. The one that he had fellowship with could recreate who he was. The one that he had fellowship with could rescind his sin, forgive his sin, cleanse his sin, pay for his sin, cover his sin, die for his sin, get up for his sin. The mind of sin told him to stay away from the one that can help you with your sin. And you wonder why people is out of church. It's not because the preacher. It's not because of tradition. It's not because mama made you go. It's not because daddy made you go. You out of church because sin have taken over your mind. The sin of the knowledge of this world. The sin of the knowledge of good and evil. The sin that keeps you thinking that there's something else other than God who created you, who saved you, redeemed you, recreated you, made you a new creature, caused you to be born again, converted you, cleansed you, picked you up, and turned you around, gave you new life, put running in your feet, clapping in your hand, and joy in your heart. I'm glad that I made up in my mind. I'm coming anyway. My sins made me like scarlet. When I heard Isaiah said, he will make a white as snow. I'm coming anyway. My sin made me red like crimson. When I'm coming, he shall make it pure as wood. I'm coming. His arms not too sharp. The same arms he made. His arms not too short. I'm coming anyway. But not only will it mess up your mind, not only will it mess up your fellowship, but it'll mess up your relationship. Is there anybody in here some kind of way sin got in the relationship? Woman, you thought you were smart because you wanted to get him away from God so you can have him for yourself. You got him away from God, but the problem is he's now trying to get away from you. Woman, you thought God was too important. You thought God had too much authority over him. You thought you could do better than God. You thought you could keep him better than God. You thought you could lead him better than God. You thought you could take care of him better than God. You thought you could chastise him better than God. But now you know when sin get in him and when church get out of him, you is about to catch a whole lot of hell. You didn't know he made him from the dirt, and all the thing that made him important, the only thing that made him holy, the only thing that made him righteous, the only thing that made him obedient, the only thing that made him walk with God and talk with God, because God was in him, God was on him, and every time the dirt tried to get dirty, God reminded, don't you better listen to me, I created you, you better leave my son alone, and let him go home tonight. He ain't going to Bessie, he ain't going to Sherry's, he's going home to his wife. You better leave him alone. But you thought Bessie at the church was your problem. You thought Sue around the corner was your problem. The problem is you wanted God's place, and now you got a fool on your hand, slipping in the darkness, sitting in the next room, lying. Yeah, you better tell that man, wake up, it's time to go to church. Wake up, you better start praying for him. You better start laying your hands on him. You better start speaking God over him. You better start encouraging him. You better tell him, whatever you do, never leave God, never leave the Creator, never leave the one that made you, never leave the one that gave you power, never leave the one that gave you his person, never leave the one that gave you intercede for me. If I mess up, I need you to cover me. Stay out of it. If I mess up, I'm look for you to hold me in the midst of my troubles. Hold me, keep me, love me, hold me, keep me. One thing, stay with him. We'll be all right. We'll get through the troubles. Stay with him. We'll be all right. Blessings on the way. Stay with him. He'll bring us through. Stay